Hello and welcome. This is going to be my April wrap up and my May TBR. March is backwards. May TBR. I can't actually believe we're already into the month of May. I'm filming this on the 1st of May. But yeah, let's just see what I read in April. So the first book that I read in April was Bloodline by Claudia Gray. This is set in the Star Wars universe, and this particular book is set about 7 years before the beginning of The Force Awakens. It focuses on Princess Leia and her time in the New Republic Senate and some of the issues that come out when some news is revealed about her past. It's a really good book. I really like Claudia Gray's writing. I'm quite excited because in a haul this month, or last month now, April, I got Claudia Gray's new book called Defy the Stars, which is not set in the Star Wars universe. It's completely written in her own world. So I'm quite looking forward to getting to that as well. But yeah, Bloodline was really good. Really liked the expansion of the Star Wars universe. And obviously Princess Leia is one of my favourite characters, so I really enjoyed reading about her story. The next book that I read in April, or listened to, was an audiobook from my local library, and it was, oh, that's a really bad glare. Yeah, that's terrible. It's Stephenie Meyer's The Chemist. I don't know how I can get that looking better, but yeah. It's a really bad glare. It's basically The Chemist by Stephenie Meyer, which obviously Stephenie Meyer is the author of the Twilight books and The Host, and this is her first adult thriller. I actually really enjoyed it. It follows our main character, who was a chemist, for want of a better word, who used to use the concoctions that she'd make to make terrorists tell the truth, basically. And this story is focused on what happens when May decide to turn on her and hunt her down, basically. It's really good. It had some really good characters. Obviously the writing wasn't perfect, but it was actually quite good. I quite enjoyed listening to it. And I do want to get it in paperback so it can go on my shelves. So yeah, overall that was quite a good book. I'd give it about 4 stars maybe. And same with Bloodline, I'd give it about 4.5 stars too. The next book that I read was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This has obviously been going around BookTube for this in the entire month of April pretty much. I got it in a Fairy Loot box for March, and I buddy read it with Zacula Erin, whose channel I will link below. I really enjoyed this book. I went into it pretty blind. I didn't really know much about it. The blurb doesn't tell you much about it. In fact, the blurb on the back of this says, "It was impossible, of course, but when did that ever stop any dreamer from dreaming?" So it doesn't really tell you much about it, but I really enjoyed it. The writing itself was absolutely beautiful. It's very lyrical, and I'm not ashamed to admit that it completely broke my heart as well. I'm very excited for the next one next year. The next book I listened to again on audiobook was The One Memory of Flora Banks. Again, I think the glare is absolutely awful on this and I have no idea why. But yeah, it's The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr. And it's about a girl who has amnesia and can't actually form new memories past the age of 10. I found the beginning of it really repetitive, which obviously because she's got amnesia is understandable, but it did grate on my nerves a little bit. But as we moved further into the book, it became really interesting, but then again towards the end it petered out and it didn't really give me, I didn't get a sense of a satisfactory resolution from it. It just was quite open-ended, and yeah, it just lacked something for me, so I'd give that probably about 2.5 stars for that one, I'm afraid. Then the next book I read was Gemina by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. It's obviously the sequel to Illuminae, which I really enjoyed. Again, this is written in the same sort of format of like transcripts and reports and things like that. Really enjoyed it. Thought it added quite a lot to the story, especially towards the end. It crosses over even more with Illuminae, all the characters from Illuminae, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the last book coming out in that trilogy next year. The next book that I read, again, I don't know how this is going to, oh, that's a bit better, is Flame in the Mist by Renee Adehi. I got that as a ARC from NetGalley. and really enjoyed it. It was actually a much easier read than I expected it to be, and it's basically it's being portrayed as a Mulan retelling. I didn't really get that vibe. The closest to that I got was like that she pretended to be a boy for some of the story, but in itself it was a really interesting idea, and ends on a massive cliffhanger. So I'm really looking forward to the next one coming out, which probably won't be for about another year now. The last book that I read in April was Hunted by Megan Spooner, which is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And this was a lot more like a retelling, what I would expect from a retelling, but I still really enjoyed it. The main character, Yeva, or Beauty, is a very strong character. She's smart and she hunts, and yeah, I really enjoyed her character and her story, and overall I really enjoyed the book as well. I got this in a book box club box, and yeah, I'm really glad. I'm looking forward to the end of month chat with the author as well. So that was all the books that I read in April. In May, I'm aiming to read probably between 5 and 6 books. There are 3 that I absolutely have to read, and that is because I'm taking part in the Harry Potter readathon, which I will put all the links down below. So in the month of May, we need to read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and then spanning across between May and June is going to be Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I haven't actually read the Harry Potter books probably since the Deathly Hallows came out, actually. I read the Deathly Hallows like a couple of times in quick succession, and I don't think I've actually gone back to the Harry Potter series since. So doing a readathon of the Harry Potter books is going to be really good fun, because like I say, it's been a long time since I've read them. So that will be taking place in May. And also in May, as of tomorrow, as I've said before, we're in the 1st of May now. Tomorrow is the 2nd of May, which means the release of A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. And I cannot wait for this book. I've been so worried all weekend. I've been checking my Amazon shipping update, and it's just been saying, dispatching soon, you'll get it on the 2nd of May. I'm like, dispatching soon isn't really reassuring me. However, I have now had the email to say it's been dispatched, and I am guaranteed to get it tomorrow. So that better be true, because I cannot wait to start reading this. Also in the month of May, the release of Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare is late May. I think it's the 23rd of May, and it is the 2nd book in the Dark Artifices series. Again, been waiting for this for a long time. Very excited about it, and I'm looking forward to reading those. So those are my anticipated reads. There may be another one if I get time, but the ones that I'm focused on are 3 Harry Potter ones for the readathon, and then the release of Court of Wings and Ruin and Lord of Shadows. So yeah, that is my plan for May, and that was what I read in April. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!